Look at this. I got headphones on. I got a mic going. Baby.
If
Huh?
only people could see you now.
Hey, no video. We've gone through this before.
All right,
No
all right,
video.
all right. Welcome to This Commerce Life. This is a podcast aimed at small, medium entrepreneurs focused on commerce. I'm Phil, your host, and Kenny, your co-host, will join us as well. And we're going to talk to you about the world of retail and commerce and how things are changing in the world. We were just talking about it because I think it like a year ago.
It was actually, the only reason we remember it very clearly is because it was Earth Day last year.
Yeah.
So that we recorded with you guys.
Really? We recorded on Earth Day? This
On
seems
Earth Day.
very unearthly.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was a coincidence, but so Earth Day is like the end of April. So it's been almost a year.
Almost a year.
Wow.
Since
Wow.
It's calendar
What's that
year,
for?
but it's really been like dog years, right?
Yeah.
It's really felt like 7 maybe,
Yeah.
The last month has added another 2 years. It's
You're
like,
telling us, man.
oh my gosh. Oh my
It's
god.
like, what fresh hell will this week bring?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
World?
Yeah. What new instability, what new paralysis,
What new
We
what
were,
new helplessness will it introduce?
Yeah, in December, I remember Alexa and I were having a conversation about something, and it was where I said, "Oh, but that's in March, which gives plenty of time for some other disaster shit to happen. So let's not bank on it."
Yeah. No. Holy crap! It's almost March.
Crazy.
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we
3
are.
days in.
3 days in, we're here. Welcome to Marshville. You're a little late.
Oh my god. Yeah, you're right. Actually, I am late. I'm 3 days late.
3 days
How did
in,
that happen? We have Alexa and Lisa from Good Juju on, and you heard it. We had them on almost a year ago, but excited to have you back. Would love to hear what's going on with you. Kenny and I have, I think we've undertaken a slightly new journey. You'll look at, when we tell you, you'll look at us and go, amateurs. But but we'll get to that. There's lots of time for mocking and laughing at later. But do you want to catch us up on? Yeah. Catch us up. What's going on with you two?
So it's been a really good year for us, but like most people, it's a year that kicked our ass.
Totally.
It really did. Personally, I mean, everybody's in the same boat, but
Mm.
professionally, it was hard. It was really hard. I don't know, Alexa, you want to elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was looking back at when we chatted last, which was in March, and I think at that point we had just launched kind of our hair bars into retail.
Mm-hmm.
We were only about 4 months old as a business, so we were still operating everything out of our houses. The office that I'm in right now is our warehouse, our Vancouver warehouse. It was full.
It was at that time.
Yeah, we were doing all the orders ourselves. And fast forward to today, I think at that point we had maybe 10 retail accounts. We have 275 retail accounts now. So we have been really busy on the sales front that way. We have expanded into the US, not in a huge way yet, but that's kind of one of our focuses for this year. We have our own warehouse in Burnaby, which was very challenging to find, but we managed to get one. So that's been great. We have somebody that does our order fulfillment for us now.
Good. I gotta take that off your plate. Thank God.
Yeah. So we have kind of a bit of our nights back anyways, because that's what we were every night doing.
It's a warehouse that we own though. It's not a 3PL. So that's something that, we wanted to control that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a warehouse. Yeah, what else has been going on?
We became 1% for the Planet member. We were actually kind of trying to list all the things beforehand, and we're like, yeah, no wonder we're so tired. We did a lot this year.
Well, I was thinking, it sounds like you guys kicked the ass of the year, not the year.
Yeah, I don't know. I know.
There's more. There's more. So we became 1% for the Planet members, which is They're a charitable organization started by Patagonia. For people that don't know, that you donate 1% of revenue, not profit, which is a very different number. So there's that. We, on our D2C side, we launched a subscription model, and we launched an affiliate program. So we're managing that on the D2C side. When is this podcast going to air?
Yeah.
Probably about 3 weeks, I think. 3 or
Okay.
3 or 4
So
weeks.
we can share something with you, which we're not technically supposed to share until next week.
Do you want me to share it in 3 or 4 weeks?
No, you can share it after next Wednesday. You can share it.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So on the D2C side, so we launched our subscription model. We launched an affiliate program. We are going to be in the Jelly Box next week with Jillian Harris, which is huge for brands. Anybody that knows about Jillian Harris and the brands, she accepted us into the Jelly Box like about a year ago, right, Alexa?
That's been a year in progress. So it's 15,000 boxes that go out to kind of women just right in the demographic across Canada and the US. And
so we've kind of been like, it's a big deal. Like when she kind of promotes your product, you have to kind of get ready for the traffic and orders.
It's the hockey stick that everyone looks for, right? Like,
so we've been really busy preparing for that.
Yeah.
Why do you look so cheerful? Like, holy crap!
There's more.
Oh my god!
We made a list, and we're like, damn, no wonder we feel like our asses were kicked. So we can get into more details. I'm sure you're gonna have questions on this one, but from where we were last year, so we kind of would just try to launch as soon as we could, obviously because of COVID. So our margins really weren't what they needed to be. Like we just took the pricing that we had. Let's launch. So we've been working our butts off to get our margins in line. And like I would say within the next couple of months, we would have made a 30 points of improvement to our margin.
Holy shit, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Or that means you were really shitty on the other end. One of the two.
Yeah, it's both.
Kenny, come on.
You know, reality is reality. Gotta go to the money.
It was still operational. It was still operational last, we were still operational. We weren't like, but now it's good. Now it's like we're in good shape.
Wow.
We have 4 to 5 new product launches that we've been working on as well that are coming up soon. We launched Generation 2.
You know, you could take a nap like anytime. You can just take a nap.
I'm still waiting for when the year kicked their ass.
I'm just waiting for you to say, "Oh, and that was the front half." So let me tell you about the back half.
No, but all of this with a really small team is what kicked our ass, right? So we launched Generation 2 of our packaging. Like we basically had to make a quick redesign. So just to make it smaller.
Okay.
We reformulated the laundry strips. And I think, Alexa, one of the things that we forgot to put on our list, but I was thinking, okay, this is the last thing, is that, which I think is a really good accomplishment, is that as of this month, we are actually, as owners, going to pay ourselves too.
Yay!
Yeah.
And that's in under a year.
That's huge.
No, it's over a year, but
over a year.
Okay.
Just over.
Yeah, just over a year.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so that's why we're really tired.
No shit.
So
Jesus.
What's been going on with you guys?
Well, nothing near
I'm
that.
leaving now. I'm gonna go now. I feel like all I've done is sit in this chair while you guys.
We figured you might have some questions about some of those things.
So, wow, that's amazing. So, I think I mean, just undertaking margin alone, and like redoing your margin, and then being able to pay yourself in the same year is significant. But like to do what you've done is wow.
That's a lot of stuff in a year. What were okay? And those were things you had to fix, challenges. Stuff. How have you found? Because now I'm just curious. Now we start down those paths. How did you find supply chain this year? Like what precipitated even the margin relook? Was it costing just going through the freaking roof?
I wish people could see our faces right now.
So okay, everybody else on the show, trust me, supply chain has been a nightmare.
Supply chain is hell.
It's hell. It's hell, and it's I feel like partners. So it's like divide and conquer. So I've bared the brunt of that hell, and yeah, it was, I think, okay, so I'm going to back up for 1 second. So the first year of business for any new business is extremely cash intensive, right? Like that you have to,
Very.
this is why a lot of businesses fail in their first year, is that the owners either don't have the capital or aren't willing to go get the debt or the equity, release some equity in order to fund your first year of business. It's insane, right? You add COVID and the supply chain challenges to that, and it was insane for us because we went from like carrying, just like everybody, I'm sure, you know, we're not carrying 60 days of inventory. We're trying to carry 6 months of inventory at once, right? And try to do that when you're growing a business and you're not really sure what your projections are, you know, like
So
we're
scary.
still growing really fast.
Yeah.
It's so
and
scary.
then to sink all your cash into that, you're not really like you're having to make trade-offs on, you know, where you're going to put cash elsewhere, or you're having to beg, borrow, and steal to get the things done. So it's been really, really stressful. I think that honestly, like looking back at the past year, if there's anything that I'm really proud of all those things we achieved, but I think that personally, what I think I'm really proud of us is the attitude adjustment that we've had to have, and the way that we look at our business, and the way it's like, okay, got to stay calm through it all. You can't go with the ups and downs. And we really have learned to master the art of the pivot, right? Know that your plan is mere 50-50 chance of whatever you think is going to happen is going to happen.
Yeah.
And then, okay, it's not going to happen. We're not going to sit and cry about it. What are we going to do next? What are we going to do next? What are we going to do next? Right? Like, and that's how we were able to get all that stuff done, to be quite honest.
Yeah. Like always trying to, I feel like you have to be much more creative in solutions. Like can't rely on the one plan that we have. Like Lisa said, it has to be, if that plan doesn't happen, what's our next plan and what's our next plan? And then kind of like, how are we going to make sure that we don't run out of inventory? Because again, as well, like landing new accounts, the worst thing I think that you can do if you just get a new account on board is say, oh, sorry, we don't have any product now. Like you brought us in and now your first order, we're out. Like we can't do that. So we've made it one of our number one priorities to always have inventory, which has meant finding creative ways to get it here, finding expensive ways to get it here. And yeah, a lot of like sleepless nights.
Air freighting things when we really didn't want to air freight things, you know, like
price of air freight prices.
Oh my God.
You're $1,000 a pallet last year, 4,000 now. A container of 5,000. I mean, it's like insanity. And then just to your point though, it's the cash flow. I mean, it doesn't grow on trees as far as I know. You know what, you need to hold the inventory, but you know what inventory is worth? Nothing. It costs you, right? Those are cost centers that they're
I'm getting an ulcer just listening to you guys
amazing,
talk about that.
Yeah, but that's the thing,
It
right?
really
like,
is.
You have to have the stamina for it,
Absolutely.
and the mental stamina for it, and it helps that we have each other. Because
well, thank God you're not on your own. At least you can, misery loves company, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. We've cried on the phone, and
I'm sure you have
bemoaned our state of the world for many more
so
hours.
We went back to it, and you were talking about like some of the challenges, especially with the inventory. So what did you do for the financing? I mean, I don't think banks are necessarily the most receptive these days. I'm assuming that would you have to give up some equity? How were you guys scrambling around trying to find stuff?
We haven't given up any equity at this point. So far, we have been really lucky with the banks.
Wow.
So I think you guys might have seen our piece in CIBC that they wrote about us and focus on sustainability and business. And they have done a really great job with us this last year. Really helped us kind of extend our credit line to finance some new inventory purchases.
Oh, good.
And then we've also leaned on like Lisa's family, my family for a little bit of assistance, and then our own finances. And
that's what you have to do, right? I mean, you guys know that's how you do it. Friends and family,
and that's it. And you have to, but I think like you speak to other business owners, one of the awesome things about starting up a business is all the people that you meet along the way, right? So a bunch of like women founders have reached out to us, and you get to learn people's like temperaments. And we've met people who are like, gosh, I don't know how you guys do it. Like, I can't handle any kind of debt. I will just like, anytime I need something, I'll just give away a little bit more equity, give a little bit more equity. So I think we're lucky that we have the same, risk tolerance towards debt.
Yeah. or the ability to ask people, because there's everything. A lot of people don't want to ask friends and family because of fear of, well, your family will be stuck with you anyway, but they may not be family to talk to anymore, and friends could just, wither away. But ultimately, I think the life of the entrepreneur, the startup, is that like you can't be scared to tap into wells. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, right?
Yeah, and you have to, and I think that also we know so many great people in this industry, and we've talked to them along the way. And I think we felt really comfortable in the strategic decisions that we were making. Like, we made the margin improvements. Like what we were doing with the money we weren't being frivolous with it, right? Like if you're gonna secure inventory for 6 months to a year, that's really where like 80% of the money's going, right? So it's, we felt really confident in it. Like it wasn't like a gamble in taking the money too, right? We felt really confident. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I want to ask a partnership question, because I think like what you've been through, I mean, we talked about it last time, right? Like you guys got together and then you got together and just started this thing, but not really. You got together and built this, this amazing thing that's there. But the year that you've had, was it like
to each other?
Yeah, no. I think it's really important, right? Because like I like coming from having done a stint in tech startup, what you guys went through, the most common thing to see is a breakup, right? Is that somewhere along the way you realize I'm not comfortable taking that risk because I don't want to go that way. I want to go the other way. I thought we were going the other way. No, I'm going the other way. And then usually, like I think I've been through two of those where you're like, oh, this is bad. Okay, well, I'll be over there. You guys just tell me who wins me and who I'm following in the divorce, and then we'll figure it out. How was it for you two? Like, was this had to be tough on the two of you, or are you just like that?
I don't think it was tough on our relationship.
No, it wasn't tough on our relationship. No, you know what? But I do think we talked about this up front. Like we've seen so many businesses now build, grow, sell, right? Like it's what people want to do. So we spoke up front about, did we want to finance our business with debt or did we want to finance it with equity? And we both were like, debt as long as we can. Like we are way more comfortable with debt because I think that we know that we have something really special here. And to start to give away equity and to start to give away pieces of it feels really personal to us, to both of us. Like, I think I think that so far anyways, Phil, it hasn't been.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx anything. I think like what you have is wonderful, and you guys are killing it, right? So hopefully I don't hopefully I don't break anything. I just think it's really remarkable, right? Because I think the two of you, you're on the same page. You've gone through some serious adversity along the way, and then there are like any one of those things that you talked about, from buying 6 months of inventory to like setting up a new warehouse. Those are grounds for partnerships to get seriously tested, right? So I think it's amazing that the two of you made it through, and you were tight.
I think our relationship has not. I don't think there's ever been a time, I mean, speaking just for myself, but this past year where I've thought,
I'll call you guys later.
Or, I thought I wish Lisa and I were doing this together. My vision is so different from hers that we should, try and figure something else out. Like we've shared the same vision the whole time, and we really have each other's back. Like if there's a week where it's really tough for me to get on something or I'm feeling overwhelmed, she'll take something, and vice versa. And I think we're equally putting like all of our blood, sweat, and tears and more into this. So, you know
what? I think, sorry to interrupt, but I think that's because everything has gone so fast paced. Like you guys heard the list of everything that we're doing. Like there's no downtime. We're like, go, 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 go. We have our lanes. Like Alexa and I have very clear lanes that we're in. And sometimes my lane is the one that is like, shit, like I can't do this. I need a break, And thankfully, when I'm like that, when the operational stuff and the supply chain stuff was really bad, Alexa what stuff that was happening on her side was, not as bad, so she could support me. And then when she was setting up the warehouse, and like when she was in like a really stressful situation, I wasn't, so I could step in and support her. So I think it's just been a little bit of luck, strategic planning, everything all together, at the same time, on top of our mutual alignment in our values.
It's tough though.
Yeah.
It's inspiring. Really, it's inspiring.
It's good.
Yeah.
I mean, things like that. I remember when we built the house together, is we could have either killed each other, right? Or it was like the two of us against the world. Yeah. And that's sort of where sometimes I've seen it go the other way, obviously. But like when it's the two against the world, it's actually pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Because at that point, you know what, you're unstoppable because you got each other. You just plow through the shit and get it done, right? And some days suck. I get it, whatever.
Yeah.
But there's so many days that just don't.
Yeah.
You know what? I think that's a really good way to put it, because I don't know. We love our industry so much. Yeah. It's a lot of men. So it's really easy for us to be like, it's us against them, and we're gonna be us against the world, and we're gonna show them, and we're not in this. We're competitive people in and of ourselves, without wanting to prove something to other people. Right. Like we want to do the best, and we want to be. So, and if we end up like, having record sales, and that would be amazing.
A little bonus. That's a little bonus.
Make some money, get to pay yourself. Come on.
Yeah.
That's not a bad part of the gig, right?
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, without we're not comfortable sharing, obviously, where we ended our sales last year.
No. And we don't want you to.
No, but we were really happy, and
Good.
And speaking to all of the founders that we know, whether that's, you guys know all of them, so we don't need to say it, like all the men founders, like what we were able to achieve in our first year versus what they were. And granted, a lot of those companies were started like 20 years ago, like 23 years ago. It's not the same kind of, but we did multiple times more than they did their first year. So that's amazing. If we felt really accomplished, like we know that what we did for our first year was like not common, not typical. Yeah.
You guys actually made a really big impact on us the last time you were here, because we were also, I think the two of us don't really think like that, and we were shocked by it, right? Is that there's still,
I was going to ask you about that. How is it?
Yeah, there's still this like old man's club, which like it's utter and pure bullshit. I think because we look at like all the people that come on the show, we see them as entrepreneurs and we see the things that they want to do, and gender really isn't a thing. But it made an impact on me for sure. Like when you guys were telling us about it, we probably talked about you guys for 4 or 5 episodes after that, because we were just appalled at how gross that still is.
Well, that's how change happens though, right? Is that people continue to talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't know, Alexa. Alexa deals more with retailers than I do. Like, so.
We're sorry, Alexa.
Yeah, I think we
we're really sorry.
It's okay. I think, the examples that we gave you last time, I think were pretty, kind of shocking, and never run into anything that significant again. But we have been doing. A lot of chatting with other women founders and women in business, and a lot of them share similar stories. We had a saleswoman working with us who was our business development manager. She came on maybe early summer, and then now she's just on mat leave, and she had the same kind of stories that we had too, just going into accounts and things like that. So it is an issue, but it thankfully isn't like one that we've dealt with personally over the last, I would say, 6 months. So
that's good.
Yeah, but it is.
Do you think the business would be sort of the leveler? I mean, whether you're green from Mars, I mean, does it really matter? If you've got good business sense, the product makes sense, your story makes sense, like who cares? Like it should just be like,
Yeah.
I don't know why it has to play into it.
I don't get it. It's really yet, but we're getting closer. I mean, things are improving all the time.
Yeah. I don't know though. I think that women in business still, like, business is not an equalizer, like definitely not.
I know it's not. I mean, I don't understand it, because it just comes down a lot of times to dollars and cents. It's really where it all ends up, right?
Yeah.
Who cares? What does it matter? Like, I don't see what
It shouldn't matter, but yeah, it's
It
just,
shouldn't, but I guess people
No.
also get into it for the, I call them buyers that, you know, it's not a dollars and cents thing. It's a pure power thing.
yeah.
Like I've been thrown out of offices for not bringing the proper coffee. Do you know, like that
What?
was a long time ago, but you kind of go, really? I thought, okay. You know, and then I remember
Kind
that
of like,
because
do you know who I am?
yeah,
Well,
like
that's
and
definitely in the
then
buyer's world. That's 100%.
and then I remember like my boss telling me the next time I had to go call on that buyer, she said to me, "So do you remember?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I got the deck, I got it." And she goes, "No. Remember, you need a coffee, like 2 creams, 1 sugar, and then bring a blueberry muffin because that's the makeup. That's the I'm sorry I forgot last time." So
Yeah.
I kid you not, major retailer did that for 9 months before I got moved off the account, right? To go do something else. But 9 months of like every other week, a coffee, and then if I somehow mysteriously offended the buyer, it was a blueberry muffin the following
It wasn't me, just so we're
meeting.
clear. I didn't do
Kenny always wanted more
my
than
coffee
that. It was
black, and I don't really care about the blueberry muffin.
But yeah, it's just
Yeah.
it's
Do you guys think
disappointing
that
that
that's like, did you deal with buyers in the US and Canada, or did you find it the same in both countries?
the Canadian, to be honest, the Canadian ones were much worse.
Yeah, right. I was
Yeah.
just gonna say that.
Yeah, I don't know, like if the Americans, I think they just deal with way more people, so maybe they can't drink that much coffee, or they're just, you know, but they're not as mean either. Like they really
No,
aren't. Like the
they're not.
Canadian ones were really,
Never understood
know.
that though. I still don't. I don't quite get it.
I don't get it either.
You've got the pen. You really are the power in the position in the relationship. I mean, you are. I mean, like it's already built that way. I mean, what do you need?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Like
you
if
know,
I
one
don't
of the,
sign the PO, you are hurt more than I am. I'll just find someone else to sign a PO for. Do you know what I mean? Like there's I don't see what the incentive. I don't see what the play is. I don't get
I don't
it.
know what it is. I think, you know, as we start to, first of all, I do want to say that all of the majority of the accounts that we deal with, I would say like all of our accounts that we deal with that we're in are like awesome people in Canada before I say what I'm going to
Yay.
say. 'Cause they
That's
are, right?
amazing.
Like there's a lot of
Yeah.
really, really awesome people in Canada. But as we start to expand into the US now, and in a very small way, like we're not going in, you know, we're only in year 2. We're not like, it's not
Well, you
like
got to be careful too. It's a big market.
Yeah,
It can kill you,
big
right?
market,
Yeah.
exactly. You know, as
Yeah.
I should say, as we start to dip our toe into the
Right.
US, right? Their retailers there, and this is their level of sophistication and like specifically around sustainability versus what the sustainability is in Canada. I was really, really shocked. Like I was super surprised. Like the questionnaires that they ask us, like their level of vetting, their level of like they ask us about, you know, do we have social programs in place? Like, do we make sure that things aren't child labor? Do we make sure like nowhere near like Canada is just like, okay, here you go, like
surface,
list it.
right? It's a surface level.
Yeah.
Really?
Very, so like the level of sophistication, I think, is something that, but I gotta say, like it's not even, it's all across. It's not just Canadian retail that's like that. I just think Canadian business in general, right? Like the way we operate, the way we interact, it's so different. Like I always used to think that we're very similar to the US and that we weren't that far behind them, but it's kind of surprising. It really is. Like even marketing stuff, like even the way we approach PR in Canada versus the way they approach PR in the US, like everything. It's not just retail, right? Like it's really interesting to me. And then you add on the layer of what we were just talking about, like why do some buyers here, why do we see more of that attitude here than we see more of that attitude there?
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
That might be,
crazy.
you know, I wonder too. I wonder sometimes up here is that we don't have near the level of competition that we did at one time, right? Where you really don't. I mean, you know, in this country,
Concentration of power.
You know, if it's drugstore shoppers, grocer, Loblaws, like, you know, Mass, Walmart, Club, Costco. I mean, between those 4, they truly dominate the channels they're in.
That's a good point.
You're kind of in a, it's actually kind of shitty because you're not in a good spot, really. And the thing is, they just tend to, I mean, a couple of those are worse than others, but they tend to just take full advantage of it, right? And it's, I don't, anyway, I just don't understand it on a good day. Like we've had so many conversations, him and I, on this. Like it just drives me mental. It really does. I just don't understand it. I don't understand what the win is.
Like even when it comes to sustainability, like I was really surprised at how far behind we are. But it even stems to like funding. It stems to everything. Like Canada, just in general, is so far behind when it comes to.
Don't we still waste more than most countries on the planet? Like for our size, I thought that was still a stat. Like we are not.
I think
we're better than we really are, for sure.
Footprint per person or something in Canada is significantly higher than.
Yeah, it's atrocious, right, compared to other developed countries or whatever.
Yeah, like we hit that date. There's a date every year that you hit where you've kind of used up your amount, and we hit it like very, very early. But like, when we started, we thought, oh, we're going to be able to, there's going to be so many grants out there for us because we're going to save the planet, and we're getting rid of plastic. And of course there's going to be like, of course the government is going to want to give us money.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like,
it's always the same. It's always depending on who's funding what portion of government on any given Sunday.
Yeah.
And it's still a lot of the guys, I mean, people don't understand or don't want to admit it, but oligarchy isn't just a Russian issue.
Oh yeah.
Right? Companies and people of influence governments all over this planet. It's just whether you choose to close your eyes to it or call it out. Right?
Yeah,
So it depends on who's funding what on any given Sunday. But that's part of it. So some of the wins that you had, though, let me just go on. We'll get some positive. Geez, some of the wins, like you're in a lot of stores now, a lot of doors. Like
257. Is that right? Is that what you said? 275, 257?
I think we're between I would say between 250 and 275.
So like who's new and cool? Like what's going on out there? Like who's smart enough to take you? That's what I want to know.
Well, we're in Indigo, all of their stores now across Canada and online. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I think the usual suspects in the health food industry. So, I would say most of the major health food are carrying us. Thankfully, they're
always good for that.
Great connections there from the past.
They're all good.
We're doing really well in like sustainably focused stores, as I'm sure you could imagine, like refilleries, and there's a company in the US called Earth Hero, which we're doing really well with. We have retailers just reaching out to us, probably
awesome.
3 to 5 a week are coming through. We probably land like, I would say 75% of those accounts. A lot of them are smaller, a lot of lifestyle boutiques, but some of those lifestyle boutiques are doing good sales for us. So
now is it mostly Canada or States or both? Like
we're like, I think 80% Canada still, would you say? And then 20% US.
Yeah.
And are you still you're doing direct sales up here, right? Or are you using a distributor or just all direct?
All direct.
All direct.
Yeah, that's it's funny. I was talking to another company in the industry, and she was telling me what distributor she uses, and I'm like, oh, I just can't wrap first of all, our margins sucked like when we started.
Well, so your margins, based on what you told us, you weren't ready for distributor.
We weren't ready, but also even with a much better margin now, I'm like, oh, I have such a hard time like going to a distributor, but it's because of who we are and how we know these retailers directly. So we're like, just call them up ourselves, which is not realistic. We're not a sales force. We don't have.
Well, and I think that's something you need to talk about. And, we can always talk offline one day, but there's probably a good handful out there that you might be getting to the point where you really start to, or just consider how to distribute differently. Because it's costly. It's costly to use the other side too, 100%. But it's costly and it takes a lot of time. And, there's a lot of shit buried into that too. Like AR is not fun.
This is the thing is, as we sit back and really think about where.
See, I told you I knew it wouldn't be. AR is not fun at all.
Wait. So you get retailers and you get AR.
I think you got I heard the supply side.
Why are you still so happy?
Cheers.
Because I have supply chain. She can't complain.
Supply chain is a shit show. It's not going to change. You're the constant. See, you should be like just constant misery. That's up
Listen,
and down like a yo-yo over there.
Listen, they have a good partnership. Just
Yeah.
made the observation. Now you're driving a wedge in there. Just
Our jobs suck equally as much.
We've got time to
Yeah.
stir it up, Phil. We've got a couple minutes to stir it up a little bit, see what happens.
I like AR sometimes because I find it's a challenge. Like, how many times do I have to like pester this person? Like, come
Right?
on,
Like,
yeah.
come on, man. Pay the freaking bill.
please pay. Please pay. Yeah. Oh my
We
god.
gotta eat. Pay the bill.
Oh my god.
That's
What's
always
up?
a fun. That's that. Our finance meeting once a week is always a fun meeting. Will we be able to pay this week? Will we?
Yeah. But hey, that's part of it again, right? But
Yeah.
and that's one of the challenges sometimes. And again, why as you grow, you look at potentially different means of getting your stuff out there, right?
Yeah, we're not there yet, but you know what? Going back to like distributors, I think that what's going to happen to the whole landscape post COVID is going to be really interesting, right? And to see, and will growth in the channels that were growing before continue to grow? And I think that at this time, we really have to wait and see like where we want to place our bets, which channels we want to place our bets on.
Mm-hmm.
And thankfully we're still small enough that we don't have to do all those things, right? Like we can afford the next 6 months to a year to kind of wait and see where the dust settles.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
But like it's really like, are people going to go back to the stores en masse? Are they really going to? Are they going to continue to shop online? Are those retailers with all of their, all of the prices are going to go up? How is that going to translate in trade support back to them and all of these things? Like the price, the cost of doing
It's going to be
an interesting year. Because there's a lot of other things. That play into that. I just filled up the car today, 220 a liter. Because I use 94 octane in the wife's car. 220 a liter, $150 to fill the car.
Oh my God.
Seriously, it's a sports. Seriously, it's a car though. $150. I'm thinking like, and again, to your point, that's good reflects all the way down the pipeline and how this all play out. And what do you do? So does online become the different play? Because if you're going direct to the consumer, you can take a little less margin. Notice
a little bit less, but shipping is always an issue. Right? Like shipping is like through the roof right now. Like I wouldn't say that there's anything that's super attractive. So it's kind of like we have to just kind of play it. And I think that's where going back to what we were saying earlier, which is kind of like mastering the art of the pivot. Like, we were talking beforehand, like I want to say like maybe 10 years ago, what was considered short term when you were strategic planning, right? Short term was 3 to 5 years or, 1 to 3 years. And then long term was, 5 to 7 or something like that. Pre-COVID, I want to say long term was 18 months.
Right.
Like, what do we think long term is now? Like long term is it's like 12 months. It's got to be like, there's like, I have no idea what's going to happen in 12 months.
With price increases, the way they're coming on raw materials, shipping, and all that stuff, prices monthly.
Yeah.
Honestly, we get, because I do some stuff in the food industry too. On some commodities, have seen 4 price increases in the last 6-8 months.
Yeah.
Like, how do you plan that?
Yeah.
Like, how do you go to a retailer or anybody 4 times?
Yeah.
Like, you're thinking, you look like an idiot because, and they all know because everybody's in the same industry, but how do you do that? Like, when did?
But this is going to be like the real interesting thing of who survives as I think that, our agility that we've developed and it is like definitely going to be like our competitive edge and our core competency, because there was no pre-COVID for us. So people that are waiting for things to go back to normal, that's not us. We've never had that. We cut our teeth on like one of the worst economic years yet
ever.
And we were able to achieve them. So I think that you know what, Phil, going back to like maybe why that didn't, like, it's like what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger, right? And it made our relationship stronger. It did not kill us. It made us stronger, right? Like,
and I think if you made it through that, you'll make it through potentially anything. And I think, to be honest with you, I think what you've seen right now is probably the new normal for the next little bit, in that if you're still open as a retailer, for example, if you made it through all this shit, you're probably okay. Unless you're like really, if you're scraping, because I mean, who knows? But if you've made it through relatively, scathed, but relatively unscathed, you're probably okay. And that's sort of like, you guys are in a really good spot. The fact you're actually, I mean, you seem to be doing everything the opposite of everybody else anyway, so I don't know how to read you guys on a good day. So, most people, I mean, are just trying to get through, and you're already getting, well, we can pay ourselves. I think, okay, wow. Because I got other people thinking,
listen, I didn't say we were paying ourselves a lot.
Yeah.
You're paying yourself. The fact you can pay yourself is a win.
No, it's a win. It's a win.
I do think that was, you're right, it is. To pay yourself is a win. And I think that it was a really important goal for us. It was a strategic goal more than a personal line our pockets goal. Because to get to the point where you're paying yourselves as owners is a milestone, right?
That's
it's a
sign. What's
it really
that sign? Holy
shit,
shit,
it's a strategic milestone.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. So it's not a lot, but
if the fact you can afford to pay yourself is a massive win. In the short time that you've been doing this, during the shitty time that you've been doing this.
Yeah.
Right? Take the wins. Absolutely.
No, we definitely are. Yeah. We
definitely
are.
I have questions about we started talking about sophistication in retailers and Canadian versus US. I guess I'm wondering what awareness is like, because you guys are doing some really amazing things to try and make sure that what you're doing is good for the planet. How well do retailers really understand that? I think, like, so the reason I'm asking that, right, is Kenny and I have we've just started to look at everything. I think this makes us like country bumpkins compared to where you guys are, and it's okay to laugh at us. What's that?
They probably started us down south as well. Like,
that's nice.
No, you guys definitely started us down this path. Like, I think even like me buying laundry strips, like, to me it made so much sense that, why, like, this is a really simple switch, but I can reduce the amount of plastic that I use just by swapping out a purchase. Right. And then it's been like a whole bunch of small cuts. And over Christmas I had said to Kenny, I go, I like, when I go buy clothes, like, I'm at that point where I'm starting to look at things and go, I shouldn't be buying fast fashion. I just shouldn't, right? Like, I'm looking at it going, like, I've probably known this in my head for a while, but I shouldn't, right? And so I said to Kenny, and I think I said it on one of these podcast episodes, but I said, I'm going on a bit of a quest. So if I can't buy sustainable clothing, I'm not going to buy it, right? So if it's not good for the planet, I don't want to buy clothes. It took me like 6 weeks to buy a pair of socks, because I realized, one, I know nothing about any of this stuff, and then two is I started reading about it, and then I didn't understand what they were saying, or like they were reducing water amounts, and I was like, is that a good amount of water to reduce? Like, I don't understand. And then if I order it online, does that fuck up how do I offset carbon footprint if I order it on, like, so there are a lot of things in there. So to date, I think I bought a t-shirt and a pair of socks, right? Like, thank God I don't really need that many clothes, right? But I guess so. I'm curious, is like, because you mentioned that already, right? Is that the US versus Canada? Is there, like, how far along, or like how far are we missing on packaging in Canada? It feels like we're really or sustainability, period, from a retailer.
The more research we've done, that's the reason I'm asking you, because you're so in it, because we started trying to do this, and I was telling Phil, like, he was going down that side, and I said, you know what, I'm going to do this, the 100-mile thing, because I like food. So it's always for me, it's everything food. 100-mile diet, right? I go type it in, I get the stupid book. I'm thinking, I don't want to read the book. I don't give a shit about the book. So
Kenny wants to eat.
I want to eat. I want someone to tell me to go in this part of East Vancouver or that part. That's your meat guy. That's your dairy guy. That's the guys. That you got to find the guys. And you have 100, 150 miles. I didn't really care. Province is sort of what I was thinking. We got to, him and I, like, be emotional as usual. I can't find anything. Can't find any information that's clean. So I looked, I said, but we do a lot of talking in this country, but do we really actually do anything? Because I can't seem to find shit. We had a packaging person on who made us depressed.
Yeah.
Because we thought
right.
we were pretty smart. Oh, we'll do packaging change. Well, that recycle one really doesn't necessarily go where you think it
Yeah,
goes.
like,
And we're thinking,
who thought of that? Well, no, clearly smart people think of this, right? But
Yeah.
it actually,
Us.
like I told Kenny after that episode, I said, I feel like my whole life is a dumpster fire, right? Like, because you kind of go, great, I'm going to buy sustainable packaging. And you realize, like, and then he said to us, yeah, that's great. Except, does your municipality accept that in their infrastructure? Because if they don't,
what do you mean? It's the
and
number.
I was
You put it
like,
in that thing.
what are you talking about? I did the right thing. I bought the, like, oh no. Like, how do I know now, right? Like, there's so many things. Like, are you guys
Depressed as well? Yeah. No,
Oh,
I think the municipality thing, the whole state of recycling in Canada is a really good place to start. And I feel like Alexa can speak better on that than I can. Don't you remember when we met that gentleman and he was telling us about, yeah. I don't know. Why don't you try to give it a shot? Like we met this like brilliant man who spends his life doing bioplastics. So plastics made from plants.
wow.
And
Yeah.
go.
So I feel, just before you start, I feel better because we talk packaging and we make those faces. You guys said packaging, you made the same faces. So at least I feel a little bit, because I felt like an idiot for the last like 8 weeks
like
or
an
so,
idiot this
right?
whole year on this
Like
topic.
holy
Like seriously,
crap.
like a
So
complete idiot.
anyway,
Like
I'll shut up now. You please.
I think we it's really tough, like you said, to know what to do and how to do the right thing, because you think you are buying something that's recyclable and you're going to throw it in your recycle bin and the blue bin, and it's going to go into a plant somewhere, and then it's going to become paper again, and you've done a great job.
Yeah.
In reality, only 9% of things get recycled in Canada. So, I mean, when we were going through our packaging journey, we thought, okay, let's do bioplastic because it can be composted, at least, like bioplastics can be composted. But then we were learning that there's other regulations that if a certain, I can't remember the body of government that looks at this, but they haven't certified bioplastics to even go in composters yet. So it's like, there's so much change that needs to happen at a government level that they need to create better infrastructure, better programs. And so we landed on the best is, in our opinion right now, is to use paper in our packaging, because paper is ultimately at the end of its life and be composted. And it's a renewable
and or recycled. It's
recycled.
easy to recycle. I think the one thing that he really was eye-opening to us was, same theme as our conversation about Canada being really far behind, is that our recycling plants are our approach to recycling in Canada. What did he say? Like 20 years behind?
Oh my God.
Our facilities are like 20 years behind what's in like Europe right now. So we
What the
could be
hell?
doing a better job. We could be doing a way better job with our recycling, but our plants aren't very good. So they're like, they don't catch all the plastics that they could catch in the facility when they're even sorting things and that kind of stuff. So I think we have to demand better from our government too. And
But we are our government. That's the point. I think there's so many of us
we don't know
talking
what
about it.
we're
I don't
doing. I
understand.
think that's what's really clear,
I think-
right? Is we
because
don't
we
know
keep
what we're
talking about stuff.
asking,
But every day they're on carbon tax this, carbon footprint this, climate change. So you're thinking, okay, yeah, shit, they're talking it, man. They got to be
the
doing
smoke
stuff.
show, Kenny. It's a smoke show.
Yeah, but who knew? Because Phil and I were thinking, my God, we got to the point where you want to do the right thing. You really try not to be the loser, right? You're trying to think, okay, you know what? I can do this. I'm going to step up. I want to do my part. You do your recycling, you pat yourself on the back, and then you talk to people like you did and we did. And you're thinking, oh, okay, well, that didn't do shit.
Yeah.
And it's not that bad, but it's how you feel, right? You're thinking, wow, that was.
I think we need some shock marketing. So if I go outside with just my sustainable socks and my sustainable T-shirt on, that should generate a whole lot of attention.
No, you're gonna
probably
end up
get me arrested.
You know what? One of the things that first of all, I think it's like really inspiring, Phil, what you said. Like you are doing exactly what we would hope people do. Start small. And this is kind of the message that we preach. Like, we're not perfect. Not everything in our homes is zero waste by any means, but once you start, like we say, add the good, like just start adding good things. And when you start adding one good thing, two good things, you will automatically start to think, hey, this is making a difference. This is making a difference. So I think that's, if we can at the very least inspire as many people to start that wave of thought, and to start, like, you're probably 6 months into it, and there's going to be like, we need to inspire as many people as possible to get on that journey, because it is the natural progression of the way you think. Once you see how easy it is, and that it actually works, and then you start to think to yourself, like, why the hell have I been doing things this way for this long? Like, because this company like tells me to lug around this big jug of water everywhere,
Yeah.
But I think for us specifically, plastic, like reducing plastic, is something that can have an immediate impact, and will make a difference, right? Which is why it was one of the reasons why we chose it, right? Because plastic starts, its inception is as a fossil fuel. It starts with fossil fuel extraction.
It starts wrong. The process is wrong from the get-go.
Yeah, it starts.
Exactly. From cradle, it releases carbon emitting gases at every single stage of its life cycle, from birth to death.
Pre-birth, if you think about it, because I have to use carbon fuel to start the process of extracting the carbon fuel.
Right.
Before you start, it's already a mess.
Yeah.
So, the saddest part of all of this is I feel uncomfortable shopping at Costco. I love Costco, but everything in Costco is like terrible, right? Everything's shrunk wrap. Everything is like the clamshells that they put on everything. Like there's a little product this big that's got a ginormous clamshell for anti-theft, and you're going, I can't. Like, how do I?
But that's good. That's how change starts, right? Like, that's just.
But I want to shop at Costco.
We like Costco. Not listening. We're trying to fix.
It's upsetting.
Costco will listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
Do something about it. I bet you in Costco USA they're doing something about it.
You really hope, right? It's just, I don't know. The more you start looking, it's bad, because I think the first reaction is you get kind of down and think, fuck, man, I'm not even going to make a difference no matter what I do. And then you got to get over that. Like most things in life, you think, okay, well, if I start small, like we're trying to do the food thing. He's talked about clothing. We're trying to, I'm not getting rid of the car yet.
Yeah, we switched out. So we buy all our food from True Local. So it's so we skip all of the packaging, at least from grocery stores and things like that, right? We get it flash frozen.
Cooking again, so less packaged.
Yeah.
But the fact that those businesses exist, and the fact that businesses like ours exist, that's the whole biz, right?
Yeah, you're right.
More and more people are going to get on the bandwagon, and but we do need, I think, our retailers to get a bit more sophisticated when it comes to,
you're right.
When it comes to sustainability, because like it's incredible what, like, the hoops that we have, like the amount of background that we have to provide to some of these US retailers to prove that yes, your product is sustainable. But it goes beyond, which is, so I think the thing that I was most impressed with some of these things that we're going with is climate change is an intersectional issue. It's not just about the climate. It disproportionately affects marginalized communities. It's like there's so many layers to it, and the things that we've seen and the questions that are asked of us address those things. Like, are you using child labor in third world countries to get those coconuts off the tree to make your coconut oil? Like, they want proof that you're not doing that.
And so they should.
That's kind of a big deal. It really is. Yeah.
It's so they should.
Wow.
Because really, we got to stop doing all this shit.
Don't get depressed though. I think depression is like it's the first stage. Yeah. It's the first stage in your environmental journey.
Then you get over it. And then you think,
now it's just humor, right? Because it's like, the more I look around, the more I realize I really am, like, I'm a walking disaster, right? Like, my whole life is like full of these things that you're just like, wow, that's awful. Like, and then you have to have a little laugh and go, I'm going to fix this, right? Like, because this is wrong and that's wrong.
I have to have like a pride moment for a second, because I've graduated to a new level of sustainability, and that I got myself a Lomi. Do you know what a Lomi is?
No.
So Pila, Pila Case, they make, like, so they started a company called Lomi, and it's a home compostable unit. So you can put all of your compost in it. Google, Phil, Google.
You know me already. We've only like talked twice, and you know what I'm doing already. Okay, yeah, keep going.
You put all of your compost in it, and you basically press a button, and it turns it. Like there's 3 different modes. There's like a quick mode that's like 3 to 5 hours, and what it does, it'll reduce all of that. Because I guess apparently when you put stuff into the compost bin, the first stage of compost with food actually does release quite a lot of toxic gases. So you can do that first stage in the loamy, and then you skip all those toxic gases, and then what comes out is like tiny. It looks almost like dirt.
Yeah.
And then you can put that straight into your compost. So basically you go from like 10 bags of compost to like 1. By using the loamy. But if you want to do the long cycle, it actually will turn it into dirt that you can put in your plants, and you can put, and that's like
How long is a long cycle?
16 hours.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow,
you just put it on like,
amazing.
Yeah. That's awesome. So and then it's dirt.
and it's dirt.
Oh shit, I can do that.
Loamy, Lomi.
I think
Yeah.
that's one thing about sustainable, like the sustainable journey is once you get through like the depressive phase, like then it can also be fun because there's so many cool products like a Lomi out there, or like I have a Pila case, which is just as good as a regular case and it composts after, but there's so many companies doing really fun things. Like there's an option for everything now, and it can be kind of like exciting to go and see what people have invented to.
Yeah. Look, Kenny got so excited he left.
Yeah, but
I think he
Phil,
went to-
if you want a great clothing company, that Tentry is an amazing company, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I just ordered some stuff from them, so I'm waiting for it to show up. But
Yeah, they're awesome.
it really is like, but it's again like a whole new language, right? Because even when they're telling you, oh, we did this, we saved so much water, I'm like, that's cool, except I have no idea if that's a lot of water, a little water, like, is that cool, right? So it's almost like I had to,
right? Like standards need to, like, if we need governments to get on board, regulating bodies to get on board, and then retailers to get on board, we need standards, right, for these kinds of things. And we're so far behind as a country, and maybe that has to do with like us being, one a large oil producer in the world.
You know what, natural resource country, this is what you're going to be on the slower side. Seriously, I think that's a large part of it. Because that's also, again, who influences government and regulation, et cetera. Not to be cynical, that's reality.
It is reality. I agree. It is. And, but we need, we need more, times are changing. They are changing. And it's time to focus on some more renewable energy and supporting companies that are doing things like we're doing. When we see other companies doing this stuff, like we're like, it's amazing. Great. Like we need more people doing things
Yeah.
Nobody's us. They can't be who we are. We can't be who they are. There's space for everybody. It's like how many shampoos are there in plastic bottles, right? There's space for everybody.
Yeah.
One thing that I really love about your shampoos is I can take it on a plane.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, 100%. That's not the only thing. I actually really just love the shampoo, but you can take it on a plane. And I don't have to take it out of my luggage or anything. I can carry it anywhere I want, and it's all good. I don't have a lot of hair, so I don't really use a lot of shampoo. So I'm not your ideal customer because it takes me a long time to use a bar, but it's fantastic.
But you know what? That's what we want. Like that was our goal is for you to buy less. Like reduce, reuse, recycle. It's in that order for a reason. We want people to reduce the amount that they're using, right?
Yeah. I love it. What's next for you guys? Like, is this year?
Anything left to do?
How many things have you done this year already? Like,
I mean, it is March. We just determined that. So
yeah.
What's next? Well, we've got some new product launches that we're working on for this year. So
cool.
So we're excited about that.
Can we? I mean, this is going to be. We can. There's that retailer.
No.
If
we don't want you to give away any secrets.
I think we've got some very exciting retail partnerships that we're.
Next time we talk, you can tell us those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some exciting retail partnerships, Canada and US, right?
Awesome.
Which is, there's a lot of potential there. I think we are on the direct to consumer side. We just signed up a really exciting digital partner to help us grow, who have a really awesome track record. You know, we both get it. Like, I don't want to jinx anything. I don't want to say too much, but like, you know, when you kind of get that, like, this is going to be big kind of feeling, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like you just know, like, this is going to
Yeah.
be big for you.
Yeah.
We both kind of feel like we're on that precipice of that, you know, like,
Oh, that's so exciting.
That's
yeah.
exciting.
And it's the combination
Wow.
of things. It's the combination of like those retailers, some really
Yeah.
exciting retailers that want to
Yeah.
jump on board. You know, we've got the Jillian Harris thing happening next week, which,
Wow.
you know,
Okay,
is
so when
going
do
to
we
be.
need to have you back on? Because now we have to know this stuff.
We'll have to come back.
Let us know. You want us back? You will come back anytime. Maybe come have us back in the fall, and we'll be like,
Yeah,
hey guys,
that's what
we're
I'm thinking. I
retiring.
want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
What else have we
What's
done?
going in the Jillian Harris box?
We have a custom laundry strip scent that we've done with
Okay.
her.
Okay.
Oh, cool. That'd be fun.
Awesome.
So you
Wow.
watch her Instagram or ours for the exciting reveal next week.
That's really
cool.
exciting.
Yeah.
The laundry strip thing is really cool. Like, I've sent it to a bunch of people now. Because the first time, right, like I think it was like, if you order 3, you get free shipping, right? So, and I was like, oh, I don't know, I'm going to try it, but I don't know if I'm going to use it. And then I thought I was going to go give away 1 or give away 2 and keep 1 for myself. And I wound up keeping 2 and giving away 1. And then like, but I do give them away a lot because I just think they're really cool. Like, I think it's.
Thank you.
Thank
It's
you.
just-
That's what we need. We need people to
Yeah.
spread the word. What are you doing for us, Kenny?
That's a bad one, man. I filled up the car today with a shit ton of fossil fuel that cost me a fortune. So
Yeah.
I'm not very good. I'm not a very good person.
You know, I have to say, one of the things that I hope is next for us. So it's
Mhm.
on the list. I hope we get to it. One of the things that is that, you know, when we started this, you know, we talked about on the consumer side, you know, that journey and inspiring people, but we really want to inspire other businesses to do this and to really change the way they operate and to change the way they look at things. So, you know, one of the things right from the beginning that Alexa and I have wanted to do is kind of so it's a little soon to say get us out of the weeds, but you know, we want
Right.
to be out there speaking and being on panels and spreading the
But
word.
the advocates,
because-
right? Of the industry, the whole thing.
Yeah, like change is needed, and we need people to lead change. And
Yeah.
you know, we want to be part of that. We like, you know, we're super proud of the fact that we are able to, like, we just made 30, you know, made margin improvement of like, you know, roughly 30 points, and we're able to maintain the sustainability of our business, like the sustainability aspect of it, right? Like it costs us on average, like to get our shipping materials to get, like, we're paying anywhere from 50 to 150% more than traditional materials, right? Like we can't pivot. That's one thing we can't pivot on. Like we can't be like, okay, we're going to put it in a plastic envelope instead, like a bubble wrap. We're not going to do that, right? So it can be done. And I think that that's a big apprehension with companies who have been in operation for 5, 10, 20, 30 years, thinking, oh, like, this is going to cost way too much. It's going to be too big of a change on my business, right? Like, I think that for us to be out there spreading the word and leading change in business is something that I really hope is next for us.
Very cool.
You know what? We love that. If there's anything we
cool.
can do to help you
Yeah,
with that, we're in.
that's awesome.
Just tell us how. Because we think the same things. Like we think the journey that we're on to just not be idiots about what comes next for sustainable, you know, for just living better. I think it's so treacherous for businesses, right? Like you think of, like, you two are like the dynamic duo, right? Like you just, like, you're simpatico, you run, like you're just killing it. And you think everybody who's like 5 steps behind you, they're trying to just keep the business together. So like trying to figure out what change, right? Like Kenny and I were looking at some stuff and then realized that we were looking at some sustainable packaging that really isn't sustainable, right? Like it is from a packaging type, but it really isn't because of the infrastructure it has to go into. And you realize, like, this is terrible, right? Like a business could have invested in this and they would have taken a margin hit to think that they were doing the right thing, when in fact doesn't move the needle anywhere along the way, right? So I feel like the journey that you want to go on is really important for businesses. Like how do you know, right? I'm going to take an 80-point hit. Okay. Oh, yeah, that sucks because it doesn't do anything. Like,
I
it
know.
literally didn't help. It might have hurt the planet more. Like,
Maybe
what the
that's
hell
what
am I doing? Right? Like, I should have just kept the money and planted more trees, right? Like, what the hell, right? But you wouldn't know, right? Because
But even like that's such a hot topic, is like carbon offsets. Carbon offsets
Right.
aren't enough, like what
Yeah.
do they do for, it's not
it's
enough.
an easy one.
It's
Quite
an easy
frankly,
one, but
it's an
also,
easy
like,
one, but it doesn't mean that much, right? It
yeah,
doesn't
because
seem
you
like,
can
yeah.
still be like, operating your business in a really shitty
Yeah.
way, and
Right.
then saying, oh, I'm just gonna buy some
Yeah.
carbon offsets and we're
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Wow.
exciting. Seriously, anything we can do to help, just let us
Yeah.
know. We're in,
Well,
because we love it.
thank you. But I think also, like,
Yeah.
if we can help other people, like if you guys come across other people that,
Mhm.
we are by no means the fountain of all knowledge when it comes to this, but we're learning, and
No,
I
but
think
you're
that's
you're
the
inspirational.
one.
What you've done with the
The
business
story's
is really
cool though, right?
inspirational.
Honestly, like,
Yeah,
it's just cool. I mean,
yeah,
you've done really well in a time when most didn't, and most didn't start in a shitty time. Like, I mean, you got to take, you got to
but
bow
you
and
did
bow.
really well in a like it isn't just that
Fine.
you did well and you guys are making money and the volume is good, but you're actually doing good things for the planet too.
Exactly.
Like,
It's all
honestly,
good. It's a good story.
you guys just can't do anything normal, like you
Yeah.
gotta.
That's okay.
It's amazing.
You know what? I think it's like, but it's true. Like, I don't know. I don't know if we don't really lift our heads up to know often enough, or at all, to know like what we're doing and the level that we're operating at. And that list that I gave you, is that above average? Is that average? Is that, like, we don't really know what those
No,
things
it's
are.
above average. In case you didn't get that,
Yeah.
it's above average. It's more than above average. It's like
Yeah, it's
well
above average.
exceeds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are.
Okay, Alexa, let's take next week off.
Oh yeah, you guys got the week
I was
off.
gonna say
Just
tomorrow, not the whole week. Tomorrow. Take tomorrow.
Oh come on.
Hey, I got stuff to do.
So you take the day that he gave you, and then add another week that I'm giving you.
Oh,
Just
yeah,
take
look at you.
We'll
Oh,
see you in
man.
a couple of weeks. So.
A couple of weeks, except that we've got Jillian Harris launching next week. So
Yeah.
maybe not,
Yeah,
not
okay.
next week.
Okay,
No.
maybe the week after. Yeah.
It's always the week after.
I'm actually looking forward to coming back and us saying, you guys being like, so what happened with that? What happened with the launch? Like, how did that affect your business? How did all these things affect your business? Like, it's going to be, I'm really excited to see how this new digital partner is going to affect our business. I'm,
I'll go back in the fall. Seriously, I'd love to hear the
Yeah.
story. I'd like to. Yeah. why
We'll
not?
keep an eye on your social feeds as well, but the minute you guys feel like you want to come back on, just tell us.
Or just ping us. Yeah, if you don't want to come, just let us know.
Yeah, or we'll
Okay.
come find you in the fall. So
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, we'll do.
Awesome.
Thank
thanks,
you guys.
guys.
Bye.
Thanks so
guys.
much.
Chat
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
Tell
Have a good
Okay.
anyone.
evening.
Have a
Tell
good
you
night.
too.
Take
Bye.
care.
Bye.
Wow.
Those guys are cool.
God, those guys are fierce, man. Like, seriously,
are.
they're just so they're just
Just so
fierce.
motivated and like,
Motivating.
yeah, inspiring,
Right, it's
like
just-
just
wow, it's
doing
pretty
amazing
cool.
things. Like it's so good.
Yeah, it's just really
So
cool.
good. So good.
Okay, listen, I gotta get back to work.
Yeah, chop chop.
I've
I will
left
see you
them in the other
later.
room, so I gotta go back in there. I'll
Yeah.
give you a call on the way home.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, buddy.
Thanks,
you,
buddy.
people, for listening, and
Thank you.
we chat soon.
Okay, bye.
Ciao.